wine. Yeah.
Microphone check 1 2. This is the Pete Camarillo podcast. Psych, you know what it is. Touchdowns and tangents. I'm out here riding solo. Shout out to Kenny, wherever he is, out in the Bay, living his best life, hopefully. But yeah, you know what it is. Same stuff. Train keeps moving. Touchdowns and tangents, your usual Thursday night spot for NFL content, college football content, and conversations for the culture. But yeah, man, crazy week up here in the studio. First solo show. Got the Clipper game on. Living my best life. And can't be more excited about it. Someone who is also living their best life in the NFL world. Shout out to Josh Gordon, man. Josh Gordon, for those of you who've been living under a rock today, made NFL news by announcing that he's going to step away from the game that he loves, the game that he's well compensated to play, the game that he has a major impact on every single down. He's going to step away from the game to get his mental health right. Now, for some of you who don't know who Josh Gordon is, well, he's become infamous over the past few seasons for being on the commissioner's exempt list, being suspended and all that stuff for, well, what most of us Californians do on a daily basis, which is smoke a little weed. Yeah. For whatever reason, the NFL, of course, as always, is late. And, yeah, they're making NFL players suffer because they like to enjoy a little bit of medicine that the rest of the world also enjoys. And if you're hearing the echo, I apologize for that. Not sure why. You know what it is. Just another day with a little bit more technical difficulties, but I'll play through it as I always do. Nonetheless, man, Josh Gordon, I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to walk away from a game that you love, that you prepare for all year long. And with all the mental illness stuff, all the mental health awareness going on right now across professional sports, it's really just a new part of the trend. But yet, the plot thickens. Turns out Josh Gordon actually got suspended for failing another drug test. So, as, you know, highly moral as it sounds that he stepped away from the game, I mean, really, he was always going to have to. It really wasn't up to him. But, man, I really hope that guy can get right because he's a great NFL player, and it sucks that he can't play the game he loves for doing a little bit of chiefing. On that same note, shout out to Eric Reed. I know Kenny has some feelings on Eric Reed because dude has been tested for the 7th time in 11 months. As KB says, that's a form of blackballing, and it's really not right because he's disproportionately being targeted to fail a drug test, and guess what? He keeps passing them. He keeps playing at a high football level, and he can't be stopped or blackballed like Colin Kaepernick can. On that same note, if you haven't checked out dude's Twitter, Instagram, you should because he's always going at the NFL. Beyond that, his My Cleats cause was actually really awesome. If you look at it, he actually had an artist do a complete tribute to the history of protesting with images of protesters basically saying, if not when, if not now, then when? If not me, then whom? And he brings up a valid point because Colin Kaepernick is forever going to be one of the black stains on the NFL shield, whatever that means. And the fact that Eric Reed is able to continue playing and continue having a platform that Colin Kaepernick has to sit and watch, good for Eric Reed, man. Good for Eric Reed. And then, of course, as always, I got to get to the bad shit that always happens on the NFL, which is another player getting in trouble for doing something violent.
Bruh.
This week's player is none other than Washington Redskins safety Monte Nicholson, which, if you haven't seen the video, he pretty much did some shit that I would do to Kenny in real life. Nah, I'm just kidding, Kenny. Don't get mad. Kenny gonna get mad from that disrespect. But yeah, pretty much, you only catch about 30 seconds of the video. Shout out to TMZ as always, because they get all the damn video because they pay for it. But besides that, pretty much, dude was being held back by his friends. He got into an altercation and pretty much slept some dude. He slept some dude and just kept hitting him. And then dude got back up. He slept him again, hit him like a light, and he went out like a light. And that was it. That was over. It was that fast, that violent, and that scary. And honestly, it was pretty damn funny. But outside of that, man, it's nothing new in the NFL because we've been seeing that. We saw it with Kareem Hunt. We saw it with everyone else. Unfortunately, it just reinforces the whole stereotype that football players are violent. And honestly, I think Ray Rice really broke it down, because Ray Rice, he kind of started this whole thing with his whole altercation with his fiance, who's now his wife. And pretty much they interviewed Ray Rice because all this stuff's going on. So it's a great news pay to bring Ray Rice from wherever he's been hiding, probably somewhere near Rutgers. But yeah, besides all that, they called in Ray Rice and were like, you know, what do you make about all this whole situation with Kareem Hunt and stuff like that? And pretty much Ray Rice said there's some similarities there to what he went through, which is bullshit. But whatever, Ray Rice, make yourself relevant. One good point that Ray Rice did make was, I want to know what Kareem Hunt was going through. And I think it's true. I think it's true, especially as males, especially as masculine males. You know, we don't talk about our feelings and stuff like that. And to have that sort of rage inside of you, to have that sort of rage come out in an instant like that, in an instant caught on video, like, there's a reason behind that. You know, as Joe Budden says, people who've been through trauma do traumatic things. And it's not to excuse it, but it's just to put it into context. And I think even if you met me and Kenny in person and see us as big dudes, you might be intimidated, but once you get to know us, you know, we're pretty cool people. But once shit pops off, there's just an inner demon that we can't necessarily control. Of course, we have to learn how to, as, you know, responsible men and people. The difference is, you know, NFL players have a lot more prominence, a lot more money, a lot more situations presented to them where they're forced to deal with that same inner demon on a much larger scale with a lot more to lose. So, yeah, man, I know I'm talking a lot of off the cuff stuff, a lot of off the field things, but that's kind of what this show is, man. Touchdowns and Tangents. Shout out to the Good News radio station. Shout out to X Squad affiliates. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to Speaker for getting their shit together. And shout out to your favorite podcast app, where hopefully you're listening to this, and hopefully as soon as you're done, you're going to click review, like it, share it, and give it to your friends. But yeah, one more thing before I get to the Pro Bowl and hopefully get to a call from my boy Kenny live from the Bay is Travis Scott, man. So I know I talked about Eric Reed and Colin Kaepernick not too long ago, a few minutes ago. But on that same note, if you haven't been keeping up with the Super Bowl halftime show coming up, basically quite a few black artists have said, you know, we're not going to do the performance with Maroon 5 because, well, you're shunning Colin Kaepernick, who's standing up for a cause that affects all of our people. So we're not going to walk across that picket line and be scabs. Well, guess what? It's a lot of money, a lot of clout to perform at the Super Bowl. Someone's willing to walk across that line and be the scab. Well, this week's scab is none other than Travis, LaFlame, Scott, Jenner Kardashian.
Bruh.
Let me set the record straight, man. I'm a big Travis Scott fan. I have been since I first saw him perform out in Santa Barbara with Absol and Schoolboy Q and Currency back in the day, and Ty Dolla $ign. It was like a $20 show. My dead homie convinced me to throw up at work just to go to that $20 show. We got wasted, passed out in the car. Cops rolled up on us, gave us a warning. Hell of a story. Hell of a night. Hell of a memory. Literally jumped VIP to go see Travis Scott. Travis Scott was literally telling us to jump the VIP fence. And this is literally at a rodeo, like literally a rodeo arena. We're seeing these big name artists just moshing. Hell of a time. Whatever. Point is, I've been a Travis Scott fan since then. Seen him perform about 5-6 times. I love how he pushes the envelope. Shout out to my boy Omar. Shout out to my boy C's for also putting me on Travis. But yeah, man. Travis. If you're listening to this, it's too late, man. Between this beef with Kanye, your brother-in-law, between you taking Drake's side on that whole beef when pretty much Kanye birthed you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not on Kanye's side lately about anything, but just that overall kind of, sub beef that no one's really talking about is kind of a lot when, one, you're kind of in the same family, and two, he kind of birthed you. Shout out to T.I., who his label he's on. Point is, now Travis Scott is going to be performing with Maroon 5 at the Super Bowl. And honestly, it's going to be good for clout. It's going to be good for people to see him perform live. But honestly, Travis Scott, you're not even going to like performing for 5 minutes with a bunch of white people who are staged to be there, who are going to awkwardly sway to your music and not even going to mosh and enjoy it. So I don't know why you're doing that, first of all. Second of all, are you working on a collaboration tape with Adam Levine and Maroon 5? Like, I don't get what's going on there. I know Jay-Z has already been trying to talk him out of it. So are you willing to burn some of those relationships with Rihanna and Jay-Z and other people who've taken a stance against Colin Kaepernick just to get a little clout off the Super Bowl? Travis Scott, this is real Kardashian of you. Real Jenner of you. I mean, I get it. You got a new baby. You got food to feed. You got food to pay for, whatever. I get it all. But come on, bro. You can do another little tour for your actual fans, not people who have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to the Super Bowl, but 20-something-year-olds who can afford a $20 ticket or a $50 ticket who will take work off and go see you and mosh and actually enjoy you. Instead of, white soccer moms who make guacamole dip and only watch Super Bowl for the halftime show. But yeah, Travis, I hope it's really worth it for you. I hope you get a bunch of new followers on Instagram and Twitter that make this whole selling out the culture worth it. And honestly, I loved your album, but in comparison to the rest of them, it was... And nobody really likes Sicko Mode except for white people. And yeah, you really didn't have to bring Drake back on the back end of Sicko Mode. We really forgot he was on that track. But yeah, man, so that's about it for all the off-field shit. Whoo! I'm running out of breath over here feeling all this dead air without Kenny going on tangents. So yeah, man, I know Kenny's out here blowing up the chat, talking shit about Nathan Peterman, talking shit about TMZ, talking shit about Dragon Ball Z, and what else? Hey, man, shout out to Kenny for shouting out my homie Brandon. But yeah, Kenny,